Welcome to a brand new episode of Jim's Movie Musings. Today is going to be my long promised review of Lin Manuel Miranda's directorial debut, the movie musical Tick Tick Boom, based on the stage musical by the late Jonathan Larson. Portrayed in the film by it's nice to say it, two-time Academy Award nominee Andrew Garfield, whose second nomination happens to be for his performance in this film. Now, I do not consider myself a connoisseur by any stretch of the imagination on movie musicals. I'm a casual musical fan at best, but I have seen a couple of the good ones, like, I don't know, Les Mis, Sound of Music. In fact, the snobs among the audience are probably turning up their noses at me right now. Oh, look at that populist entertainment. Point is, I've seen enough movie musicals to know what clicks with people. I mean, basically, I've seen the ones that have succeeded at the box office and have achieved moderate success with critics as well. And, based on some of the metrics I've seen, Tick Tick Boom, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Okay, but I'll get the good stuff out of the way first. Okay, the cast led by Andrew Garfield, it's basically magnificent. Tick Tick Boom, by the way, is the story. It's a autobiographical story by Larson. It's an embellished account of how he tries to sell his sci-fi musical Superbia while waiting tables in Manhattan. So essentially, it's the story. It's the quintessential story of the struggling young artist, and he has this hang up that he has to get his big break before he turns 30. It is a bit of a stretch to see 38-year-old Andrew Garfield playing 29. Not that he looks particularly old, but he doesn't quite look that young. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. The point is that the story isn't really that much to write home about. I mean, it's about a somewhat shallow, somewhat self-centered, aspiring artist who kind of grows to realize what's more important in life as his friends start to get HIV positive one by one. I mean, this is the late 80s, after all, early 90s, so the AIDS epidemic is basically in full swing. And, well, this is the backdrop against which Jonathan Larson's story takes place. So basically, he puts everything on the line for his musical, only to go on a journey of self-discovery and realization as to what's really important in his life. And that's the nutshell. I mean, there's not much to spoil, but at the same time, there's not that much to discuss. But suffice it to say that apart from Andrew Garfield's very capable performance, you also have a wonderful supporting turn by Alexandra Shipp, whom casual viewers will know as Storm from the more recent X-Men movies. Anyway, as a showcase of Andrew Garfield's acting and newfound singing talent, this movie it's a real showstopper. I mean, and what makes Andrew Garfield's turn here so impressive is that it's unlike anything he's ever done before. Sure, he does a lot of the broad acting that you see on stage because I did a little theater when I was a kid, a very little kid. And one thing that stuck with me is the fact that when you're on stage as opposed to on film, you really have to project your voice. I mean, there's no boom mic to capture your dialogue. There's no looping studio. I mean, unless you're in one of those chintzy plays where the dialogue is dubbed in and you lip sync to it. I wasn't in one of those, fortunately. But as a rule, when you're on stage, you have to project, you have to kind of overact, you kind of have to be larger than life. And that kind of shows. And to my mind, that's not so much about Andrew Garfield's acting as it is about Lin-Manuel Miranda's direction. And that's where we get to my critique. Okay, like I said, I don't consider myself a connoisseur of these types of movies. But I've noticed that the more prominent movie musicals follow a certain rule when it comes to how characters start to sing. Okay, you have the musical where there's a framing device. Okay, like in Chicago, for example, 2002's Chicago by Rob Marshall. All of the songs in the movie are performed by the characters in the mind of Renee Zellweger's Roxy. So basically, it's a quote unquote real story, and all of the song numbers are basically her imagining the people in her life singing. That's the one extreme where basically the singing is quote unquote not real, and then you have the other extreme like Les Miserables, or somewhat less affectionately remembered, The Phantom of the Opera, where basically most, if not all, of the dialogue is told in song. Okay, and then you have the stuff in between, like for example, the Sound of Music, where people just randomly burst into song when something dramatic is going to happen or something significant to the plot. You basically have a lot of people talking, and then you basically have song numbers. Okay, so there are different approaches to how a movie musical uh, portrays its musical numbers. There's a lot of different approaches. It's kind of hard to put in a box. This movie is kind of weird because it has Andrew Garfield's iteration of Larson walking up on a stage and talking about his experience and singing. So it's some kind of framing device. He sits on a stage, he sings with Vanessa Hudgens, he sings with someone else in his troupe. And then the characters in his story sing too. So you kind of wonder what's the point of the framing device when you're just gonna disregard it later on anyway. Anyway, that may seem like a nitpick, but it just felt like awkward storytelling. And truth be told, even though Lin Manuel Miranda makes a lot of good use of the locale, I mean it's freaking New York, right? I still get the sense, and again, I'm not a Miranda fanboy. I don't know that much about him. I just know that my daughter loves Hamilton. That's pretty much it. And that he wrote a lot of Disney songs, including the songs for their latest movie, Encanto. But it strikes me that he's still not quite. He's still not quite. I don't know, acclimated to how to make the most out of film as opposed to stage. I liked the movie, and in particular, I really liked the performances he extracted from his actors, especially Andrew Garfield and Alexandra Shipp. And yeah, I mean, this is basically the Andrew Garfield showcase. If anyone's wondering how come it only managed to score two Academy Award nominations, well, I'm glad it at least got nominations for the right categories, and that Garfield got his much deserved second Academy Award nomination. In fact, what makes this so remarkable is because I have Hacksaw Ridge on Blu-ray and I've seen it, and I would invite you guys to check it out as well because it's really worth seeing just how versatile this guy is. Check out how he performed here, check out how he performed in Hacksaw Ridge, and yes, check out how he portrays Spider-Man because I mean this guy has always had acting chops. I mean I was impressed by him when he played Mark Zuckerberg's angry business partner in The Social Network. And this is really his. This is just another feather in his cap, and I'm really hoping that on Oscar night, I'm genuinely hoping he gets duly recognized for this. So, okay, so you have, on the one hand, you have sublime acting, sublime if somewhat stylized acting. Yeah, I will concede that point. Sublime if stylized acting. And then you have kind of unsure storytelling. So where do I rate Tick Tick Boom with these two, with these two factors? Well, I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. It might go a little higher, no, but yeah, I think that Lin Manuel Miranda has a ways to go before he can really effectively use film as a medium for telling his story musically. I thought the ending also was a little bit anticlimactic, and yeah, and ultimately I felt the storytelling was constrained. Okay, but that said, Andrew Garfield turns in a fantastic performance, and yeah, I mean, for me, he's really the shining star of this movie. So 7.5 feels about right. Okay, and I really, really am hoping for awards glory for Garfield in just a little under a month's time. Okay, and that's my Tick Tick Boom review. I hope you guys liked it. And for the noobs, if you did like this video, I hope you guys will give me likes and subscribes and hit that notification bell.